I'm Miles, the storyteller behind Noctavelle Audio, a home for emotional storytelling, soft fantasy, and haunting little dreams told in voice. Tonight, I'll be taking you into a soft mystery called Voice Messages from Apartment 14. So settle in, dim the lights, and let's step quietly into the dark together. Then her phone lit up. A voice message. No name. No number she recognized. She pressed play. "Hey," said a sleepy voice, warm and just a little amused. "Your kettle is screaming again. Either make tea or set it free." Huh. Lena stared at her phone for a full minute. Then she looked up at the ceiling, at the faint water stain above her kitchen that bloomed in the shape of something like a question mark, and muttered very quietly, "Very funny." But nobody she knew had that voice, low and unhurried, like someone used to speaking in the dark, like someone who found ordinary things gently, privately hilarious. And nobody she knew would joke as if they had been listening to her lonely little apartment for months. The second message came the next night, just after 2 in the morning, same as before. "You always pace when you can't sleep," the voice said. "Left side of the room, turn, sigh. Right side of the room, turn, dramatic sigh. It's a bit theatrical, honestly." Lena stood perfectly still in the middle of her floor. She should have been frightened. She was, she admitted, a very small amount frightened. But mostly, and this embarrassed her more than anything, she smiled. The third message was shorter. Just, "It's raining. Did you hear it start?" Lena had. She'd been sitting by the window with both hands wrapped around her cup, watching the rain draw slow lines down the glass. She hadn't realized she wasn't alone in noticing it. By the fourth night, she started talking back. She felt ridiculous at first, speaking into the dark of her apartment and directing her words at the ceiling. But the feeling didn't last long. "My pacing is elegant," she told the dark with great dignity. A beat of silence. Then her phone lit up. "No," said the voice, trying and mostly failing not to laugh. "Your pacing sounds like a worried pigeon." Lena laughed, properly. The kind of laugh that surprises you because you hadn't realized you needed it. That was how it began. Over voice messages sent through no account Lena could trace, no username, no carrier, no timestamp that made any technical sense. She learned the girl's name was Iris. Iris liked rain on old windows, peach candy, songs that sounded like almost apologies. She had strong opinions about the correct way to stack books, spines facing out, never in, and an inexplicable fondness for the hour just after midnight, when the city finally exhaled. She talked about the building as if she still lived there, which direction the afternoon light came from, how the pipes in the walls seemed to hum when the air got cold, and the way the third step on the staircase always creaked, no matter how carefully you tried to avoid it. But the landlord, when Lena asked, casually, carefully, said that apartment 14 had been untouched since a tenant had disappeared nearly 10 years ago. "Disappeared is dramatic," Iris said when Lena relayed this one night, keeping her voice even. "I simply left in a way nobody found convenient." A beat of silence. Then, more softly, "Not because I wanted to." Lena held her phone in both hands and didn't ask what she meant. Some questions she was beginning to understand had to arrive at their own time. The weeks folded together in the particular way they do when something unexpected has quietly rearranged your life. Lena started leaving her window open when it rained because Iris always mentioned it. She bought peach candy from the corner shop and left one on the kitchen counter each night for no reason she could explain. She began saving every message the way you might press a flower, not to preserve it forever exactly, but because throwing it away felt like a small, unnecessary cruelty. They talked about loneliness without naming it, about what it means to stay in a place when everything inside you wants to leave, about the strange mercy of being known by someone who has no reason to pretend. Do you ever feel like you're waiting for someone to notice you're there? Iris asked one night. Yes, Lena said, all the time. Me too, said Iris, even when I was right upstairs. Lena looked at the ceiling. The water stain above her kitchen seemed, in that moment, less like a question mark and more like a hand reaching down. It was the message on the 31st night that changed things. I think I'm running out of time, Iris said. Not sad, exactly. More like someone reading quietly from a letter they had been drafting for years. The kind of time I have isn't the kind that lasts. I just wanted you to know this has been the least lonely I've felt in a long time, talking to you in the dark. You didn't have to do anything remarkable. You just listened and laughed and left peach candy on your counter even though I can't actually eat it. That counts for a lot, I think, more than people realize. Lena sat on her kitchen floor for a long time after the message ended. Then she stood up, picked up her phone, and walked to the front door. The staircase was narrow and dim, the way old building stairwells always are, like the architect had intended them as an afterthought or a secret. The third step creaked under her foot exactly as Iris had described. The door to apartment 14 was at the end of the hall. It was unlocked. Lena pushed it open slowly. Inside, dust rested on every surface like a held breath. The curtains were the color of something that had once been pale yellow. The room was empty, no furniture, no photographs, nothing, except for one old answering machine sitting on the floor by the window, its cord unplugged, its casing filmed with gray. Its red light blinked once, then again. A new message. Lena crossed the room. She knelt beside the machine. Her hand was steadier than she expected when she pressed play. If you're here, Iris said softly, then I think I finally stayed long enough to be found. Then, quieter still, barely above a breath, thank you for coming upstairs. The message ended. Lena did not leave. She sat down with her back against the wall beneath the window, where the moonlight came through in a long silver line across the dusty floor. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. She simply sat and let the silence settle beside her, not the heavy silence of a room that has been abandoned, but the lighter kind. The kind that follows a long conversation between two people who have finally said everything they needed to say. Outside, the city moved slowly through its late hours. Somewhere below, a car passed. Rain began, soft and unhurried, the kind that doesn't announce itself. Lena tipped her head back against the wall and closed her eyes. And for the first time in a long time, she did not feel like the only person awake. Sometimes love arrives like thunder, all at once, impossible to ignore, rearranging everything in its path. But sometimes it arrives softer than that, as a voice teasing your kettle in the middle of the night, as the quiet comfort of being known by someone who has no reason to pretend, as a red light blinking once in an empty room, patient as a held breath waiting for you to climb the stairs. And somehow, impossibly, gently, completely, that is enough to make a haunted room feel almost like home. For a long time, Lena stayed there beneath the window, listening to the rain soften against the glass. The room no longer felt abandoned. It felt like something had finally been allowed to rest. When the rain began to thin, she stood slowly and picked up the answering machine with both hands. It was lighter than she expected, almost empty, as if it had been holding on for just one last message. Lena carried it downstairs to her apartment and set it gently on the kitchen table beside the peach candy Iris had never been able to eat. She did not expect it to work. She did not expect anything at all. But sometime later, just before dawn, when the city was quiet in that pale and breathless way it only is before morning, a small red light blinked once. Lena froze. Then twice. She crossed the room without breathing. A new message. Her hand trembled as she pressed play. There was only silence at first, then a soft inhale, and a voice she had never heard before whispered, "Is Iris still there?" And that is tonight's story. Thank you for staying with Noctavelle Audio until the very end. If you enjoy soft, mysterious, and emotionally rich stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any new stories. I'll see you again in the next one.